So a few weekends ago, I went over to my sister's house to spend the afternoon playing with my 4-year-old nephew. And my nephew and I have a very special bond. But this day, he hid behind my sister's legs. And my sister said to him, "Come on, say hello to Catriona. You're not shy." And I had a massive flashback to a time when I was around 4 and my parents were having a barbecue and they'd invited friends over. And all I can remember is just seeing a sea of legs as I was hiding behind my father's legs. I was as cute as that too. And all I could remember is hearing, "Come on, say hello, you're not shy. You're not shy, Catriona, say hello." But I couldn't find my voice. And all I could do was say in that safe place behind my father's legs. And I was shy as a child, and now I can be very introverted. And I know when you're like that, often you are not seen and you are not heard. And my sister is very extroverted. She absolutely loves being a centre of attention. And when I was growing up, I just thought, I just don't understand why anyone would want to be centre of attention. To me, that just seems like the worst place to be. So I know what it's like in the shadows. I know what it feels like to be behind the scenes. And I know what it feels like to be the quiet person in the loud room. And so many of us struggle with this, whether it's at work or whether it's at home or just in life in general. Because quite often it's the loudest and the most extroverted that get to tell their stories. And think about the people who are in the spotlight now. So many are famous for just being famous. They do controversial things just to get media attention, and so many are inauthentic. And this is not the spotlight that I am talking about. I think that we should redefine the spotlight so that it means something to each of us. For me, the spotlight is a responsibility and it's a privilege. And it's not just for the loudest or the most controversial. It's for everybody, whether you're extroverted or introverted or somewhere in between, where you can come and find your voice and share your unique messages and have the courage to tell your stories no matter how big or how small. And it took me a long time to understand that I actually wanted to move out of the shadows and I wanted to have a voice and to stand in the spotlight. I wanted to connect to my purpose and I wanted to find my voice, and it all started with one single word: yes. So let me tell you how I got to the point of being open to yes. I went from being a child who was at times behind the scenes to an adult that has built a very successful career in public relations, where I've spent close to 20 years putting other people in the spotlight. I've put hundreds and hundreds of leaders on centre stage. And I love transitioning them out of the shadows and into the spotlight. But I remained off stage. I remained behind the scenes. And one day, I had a profound realization. I was watching one of my clients do a TV interview, sharing a really impactful story about the work that they are doing with Indigenous Australians. And I was at the TV studio behind the scenes. And it occurred to me that at some point in my life, I had made the decision that my stories weren't good enough and they weren't important enough, and that other people deserved to be in the spotlight more than I did. And it was a theme in my life, on reflection. I'd spent my entire life saying no to or running away from spotlight moments. And it needed to change. I needed to find my voice and connect to my purpose. I wanted to say yes. And almost as soon as I made that decision, I was given an opportunity to present to 100 people on how to use PR and social media to build their personal brand. And I was so filled with anxiety and panic. I went to the venue beforehand and I thought, if I can just get up on stage, I can just imagine the audience there, I can do some practice, I'll be fine. It ended up in tears and I wanted to cancel the entire thing because I just didn't think I was ever going to find my voice. And I just didn't think that I deserved to be in the spotlight. And I thought, what if the audience thinks I don't know enough? What if they think my stories aren't good enough? And what if they do this? Worst case scenario. So it's 6 o'clock. The room started filling up. It was full of expectation because they were there to hear me speak. And a little later, I looked at my watch and it was 6:25 and I thought, do I run or do I stay? Is this my moment to change the theme in my life? I just didn't think I could do it. And at 6:30, I walked up the stairs. The microphone was in my hand and my hand was just shaking. And I walked across the darkened stage into the spotlight. And do you know what happened? I realized I deserved to be in the spotlight, that I wanted people to hear me speak. I wanted a voice that would carry across the room into the hearts and the minds of the audience. I realized the spotlight wasn't about me. It was about you. And that I had something to say. And what I had to say could change their businesses, could help them get more customers, build their brand. What I had to say could do so many wonderful things for so many people. Who was I not to stand in the spotlight? Who was I not to have a voice? Who was I not to share my expertise? And so when I opened my mouth, the words just flowed. Because my voice had always been there. I had just finally given myself permission to speak. And so that was the start of my journey out of the shadows and into the spotlight. And since then, amazing things have happened. Saying that first yes was like letting a genie out of a bottle. That first yes has led to so many yeses, full of magic and wonder. I now get invited to speak around the world, and I've just had my first book published. It's just amazing. And so many struggle to stand in the spotlight, and it's just not people like me who are introverts. I have found the most extroverted people to really struggle to be truly seen and heard for who they are, and to stand in their own unique spotlight. And through my experience and through working with so many people, moving them from unknown to recognized expert, from the shadows to the spotlight, this is what I've learned. Connect with your why. What is your deeper purpose? It takes courage to be truly seen and heard. And you need to think about what your higher and deeper purpose. You need to allow your self-limiting beliefs to collapse around you. And be of service. So we all have stories to tell that will help others in some way. We have experience and we have expertise that should be shared because others will benefit from it. They want to hear what you have to say. And as soon as I figured out that standing in the spotlight was not about me, it was about you and what you could take away from my words, it made it so much easier for me because I was being of service. Be yourself. Moving into the spotlight is not about changing your personality. It's not about becoming somebody you're not. It's about allowing your true self to emerge from the shadows and be illuminated. And it's not just about striving and seeking. Sometimes it's about standing still and feeling the earth beneath your feet and allowing people to come towards you. And it's about being brave enough to be vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable, you connect with people because you're speaking your truth. And so often, it's their truth as well. And believe in your stories. We live in a world where we are encouraged to compare and compete against other people. And as soon as we start doing that, we start living smaller lives because we start to think our lives aren't as good as theirs and our stories aren't as valid. But believe me, your life is beautiful and it's precious, and that your stories are just as valid as everybody else's, no matter how big or how small. And finally, it's about being open to yes. Who are you not to shine your light? Who are you not to have a voice? Who are you not to make the world a better place? It's not about being louder, it's about being bolder. It's about being open to yes. Yes is magic. Yes is illuminating. Yes can open up opportunities you never even dreamed of. So I'm going to leave you with a question. What are you going to say yes to today? Thank you.